Good day and welcome to MSUA's Game Changers Live, where we speak with satellite and mobile connectivity thought leaders about industry trends and tell you about what you need to know about the future of satellite mobile connectivity. I'm your host, Lisa Dreer, and I'm really excited to introduce our guest for today, Roger McGarrahan. He is the CEO of Pathfinder Digital. Welcome to the show, Roger.
Thank you, Lisa. Always great to speak with you.
You too. Maybe we can start by having you just give a little bit of background on yourself.
Sure, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pathfinder Digital. We focus primarily on mobile ground systems, primarily for military DoD applications. And yeah, I've been doing this for now almost 17 years. So yeah, I no longer feel like a startup, happily.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about what's happening with Pathfinder's offerings right now.
Yeah, sure. So we're still doing our traditional business model, which is really looking at the specific needs of programs, again, primarily military DoD related, but also government agency programs. And then going out to the industry, really on an agnostic basis and looking at the antennas and RF equipment and baseband equipment that's out there, selecting what we think is the best application for the job, and then putting it together in a product that we believe will provide the best performance and best meet the requirements of the program. So we focus a lot on the ConOps of the program, taking into account who the users are, the user case scenario, training of the user, where the equipment is going to be located, the access to it, what is needed in terms of ruggedization, and really try to tailor that equipment to something very specific. Um, uh, Not so much in terms of its originality, but its usability for the program. And then we'll put that as together as a product, and then provide that to the prime, or occasionally directly to the government, although usually through a prime. However, over the past couple of years, we've expanded our business model where we apply the same skill sets, but rather than doing it for a particular program, we're really doing it for our antenna customer. So the antenna customer may have a product that's COTS, or potentially, partly modified COTS, but it might not meet all of the specifications required by the DoD. And so we'll help ruggedize it and harden it, but also will help meet specific applications, whether it's EMI or power specifications, vehicle mount specifications, whatever is necessary in order to make it move that transition from being COTS to a true military product.
Mhm.
We'll work with the antenna manufacturer, the OEM, to engineer, design, and then actually produce that solution.
Wow, amazing. So have those products gone through the mill standard testing and all of that type of?
Yeah, so as part of that, with every product, not only are they designed to meet it, so you do all the FMEs and engineering required to give you the likelihood of success, but we take them all through testing to verify compliance with those specifications. There's an NTS lab close to us, and then other labs throughout the country that we work with, depending upon, yeah, the availability of their schedule, but then also what tests need to be done.
Got it. Got it. What are some of the trends that are influencing the direction of your offerings?
Yeah, so for me, the clear answer is the increased adoption by the DoD of commercial satcom. So their interest and willingness to utilize commercial satcom as a either an alternate or a an adjacent service to the military satcom, and then of course all of the need for the hardware that goes along with use of those systems. So that has increased. I mean, that's been happening for a while, and the DoD has been talking about it for quite a few years. But
Mhm.
you're really seeing an increased focus on that, and it going from discussion to, true application, and a really significant scale. And of course, the availability of these LEO and MEO constellations are just making all that, more of a reality.
Mhm. What are some of the primary use cases that you're supporting today?
So we really focus on primarily transportable and mobile terminals. Transportable being like flyaway systems, so non-fixed mount systems, and then true mobile systems such as on the move, which is typically more the purview of the ESAs and flat panel antennas, mostly again for the DoD. And however, we'll ruggedize anything. It's typically our work historically has been in the communications sector. It doesn't have to be. It really anything that needs to meet those specifications we can work on. And then we're still expanding in that to other types of antenna systems, but it's
Mhm.
really the transporter mobile that's our primary focus.
Got it. When you think about partnerships, what role are they playing in your business today?
Yeah, that's huge. Our partnerships are tremendously important to our business. I mean, in every aspect, we partner with our vendors and the antenna manufacturers in order to develop solutions for particular programs. They are extremely helpful and cooperative about keeping us informed of their technical developments so that we have the opportunity to match capabilities to needs. And we really rely upon their support in order to put together the solutions that a customer is actually going to want. And then, of course, with our more recent business model of ruggedizing products for antenna manufacturers or other COTS manufacturers, that's a partnership too. We are collaborative in terms of identifying exactly how the product needs to perform, what specifications it needs to meet, how we can do that most expeditiously and at lowest cost to the OEM to give them the results they want. And then it's a cooperative relationship through the whole process, the engineering, the design, the production, and then of course the support. So yeah, our business is all about relationships and partnerships.
Yeah. So, what would be an example of one of the most challenging or interesting mobile satcom solutions you've delivered?
Yeah, I think for us, the challenge still remains balancing um, quality. I use that term broadly, quality with cost. So, especially when we're ruggedizing products and meeting military specifications, there's an inherent cost to doing that. The components are more expensive. The considerations in the design are more thorough. It is an inherently and significantly more expensive approach than simply developing a COTS product. However, we of course want to do that to make the product as competitive as possible from a cost standpoint. And so there has to be a lot of creativity and thoughtfulness in terms of putting those designs together to
Mhm.
get an acceptable balance of quality versus cost. That's our biggest challenge always.
Right. So, where are some of these solutions actually being deployed? And I know that there's probably some limitations on what you can and cannot talk about, but maybe in a general sense, can you give us a general sense?
Yeah, so I think which I can talk about happily. I think uh, Chimeta's product line, the U8 Osprey terminal, is probably the best example of our more recent work. So Chimeta, of course, had the U8, their commercial terminal. They came to us, boy, it's almost been 2 years now, a year and a half or so ago, and asked us if we would work with them to ruggedize it and turn it into a DoD appropriate product, which we did. That became the U8 Osprey, which is a fully ruggedized system, 810, 461, 1275, I believe compliant. I mean, I may not have all those exactly correct, but I believe so. Um, and yeah, we worked with them again to design and engineer a solution. We ended up producing that solution for them. So they send us the antenna, and then we integrate it into the ruggedized shroud with all the other ancillary items that are necessary to make it a complete terminal. And yeah, I've been doing that for well over a year now with hundreds of systems out there. So that's been kind of the most concrete and exciting example. But our other systems are running along too. We service the PM Profit program, which is an Army program, a SIGINT program, where our Batliner products are in use. Their vehicle mount systems. We provide flyaway systems for the GBS program, which are receive-only systems, and continue to do that work. And then a host of smaller programs. Those are definitely our two largest programs.
Got it, got it. So are you doing both land mobile and maritime and even air, or where is it actually
Yeah,
used?
yeah, that's a great question. So our focus is land mobile, most definitely. We now the products that we're now starting to work with, especially the ESAs, are also appropriate for maritime. Um, However, our focus has always been on the land, and we haven't done anything in terms of aeronautical. But I think land mobile is probably where we'll continue to focus.
Got it. And when you talk ESA, you're talking about electronically steered antennas, is
Yeah,
that right?
correct. Exactly. Electronically steered arrays, right? So flat
Mhm.
panel antennas that can on their own both acquire and track satellites without needing to move physically.
Great, great. So what have been some of the biggest changes or new offerings that you have?
So yeah, we're really finding that the market has expanded. Our opportunity to design and produce products. At our core, we like tinkering. We like developing new things. That's what makes the day go by quickly for us. And offering products that, especially in the ESA market, has opened the door for ancillary products to support the terminal systems. A good example of that would be mounting systems. So one of the few disadvantages of an ESA or another flat panel system is that the lower in look angle the satellite is, there's an inherent loss of efficiency. So if you can do something to elevate the system and have it point more closely towards the satellite, especially in a geo application, especially if it's at a high latitude at either pole, it makes it even more important to be able to kind of reposition the antenna. And so we're working on a series of really directional antenna mounts that can be placed on vehicles or even potentially fixed, that allow you to gain some improvement in terms of how the antenna is pointed, and as a result, improvement in efficiencies of the antenna. So working on quite a few of those, and something we've been thinking about for a few years. We have versions that are both intended to be operated on the pause, so stop the vehicle, deploy it, and operate that way. We also have versions that are intended to operate while on the move, which of course are more complex because they're accommodating the directional changes of the vehicle and such. So it's just kind of opened up another little sub industry, if you will, for these types of products.
Yeah, amazing. Sounds like a great idea. When you think about the up and coming technologies and industry shifts, what are you particularly interested in today?
Yeah, so it's like I mentioned before, definitely the move to commercial satcom and the demand for multi-constellation solutions, LEO, GEO, MEO, is a huge change in the industry, and an opportunity for the industry. Really, unprecedented, at least in the period of time that I've been in the industry, which has been a while now. Um, it presents a lot of opportunities, but it still presents a lot of challenges.
Mhm.
Um, I think, even if LEO satellites work and the LEO terminals work, the question still remains, do they work together as a network? Does it scale? What happens when the networks are contested? All kind of obvious questions that nobody is surprised exist, but I still don't think we have answers to completely
Mhm.
yet. And it's not as though, we're at the slam dunk stage. There's still a lot of work to be done. LEO terminals tend to be tightly integrated. They're built for the satellite group they're on, with unique specifications. Parabolic terminals tend to be more agnostic. Just swap the buck, choose a band, and you're good to go. So when we're trying to put together a terminal that does everything for everybody, that operates on these multi-constellation systems, there's still challenges involved to make that work properly. Flat panel antennas tend to be have a smaller effective aperture size
Mm-hmm.
than the parabolic terminal. So a 1 meter physical 1 meter ESA may have the performance of a 0.5 or 0.7 meter parabolic. Now there's ways you can compensate for that by allocating more spectral bandwidth, but in doing so, you're increasing your operational cost. So it can be compensated for, but at a cost. So we're really still not to the point where we necessarily have solutions that do everything for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's especially true, I think, with DoD systems, especially SIGINT and HUMINT type systems. That unlike normal use scenarios where you have most of the data being delivered by the network down to the user, so it's a downlink heavy requirement. With these HUMINT and SIGINT systems, it's the exact opposite, like a reverse duty cycle. You're collecting information in the theater, and you're uploading that information. And so you need significant bandwidth and capability to upload all that data. And 2 megs a second isn't going to do it. You need other solutions. So we still got to find a system that and this is probably is the extreme use scenario, right? But let's start with that, because if you can fix that, you can fix everything. But still need systems that have the capabilities that ESA provide, but also the uplink capabilities that a parabolic provides. I'm sure it's coming. I think it's just a matter of time, but it's just one more hurdle to get past.
Yeah, got it. So, given this is the MSUA's 31st anniversary, I
Mhm.
want to take a look back and kind of say, hey, we've seen all the changes in the last 30 years. What's your prediction about what will happen in the future?
Yeah, growth. I mean, that growth is the word that just screams out to me. We're getting this ubiquitous coverage at lower cost, and I think that's going to do nothing but increase the business models that we haven't even begun to think of. I I think back to when the iPhone and smartphones first came out. I think back to what my perception was of the potential for that device. I mean, it was basically just a device that could process and communicate information. I mean, at its essence, that's what it does. And I had, especially in hindsight, absolutely no idea what you could do with that capability. You think of all the applications that have generated, the business models that have come from it, and had I had that type of insight, I'd probably be on an island rather than talking to you now. But unfortunately, I was not, and I'm sure we're in the same situation with satellite, where we're having all this ability to process and communicate information everywhere at lower and lower cost. And I'm sure there are a plethora of business opportunities that will generate out of that capability that we haven't even started to think about yet. And luckily for all of us in the industry, we'll be along for the ride. I think it's extremely exciting.
Absolutely. Well, Roger, I want to thank you so much for making time to be here today. It was a great session. And I also want to take a moment to thank the Mobile Satellite Users Association for sponsoring these events. You can learn more about the MSUA at msua.org. And we hope you'll join us again for our next Game Changers Live. Thanks, Roger.
Absolutely. Nice speaking with you, Lisa.
You too.